All right, good evening, everybody. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. We've got some big movement in the coaching ranks in the NFL. And I'm sure you guys have probably already heard about this. It was a couple hours ago it was announced, but let's talk about it for a few minutes here. The Broncos got Sean Payton. They made the trade, they pulled the trigger, and Sean Payton is going to become head coach of the Denver Broncos. So let's dissect this as Seahawks fans. Now, before I get to the dissecting real quick, just want to let everybody know real quick, tonight on Twitch, I will be beating Dead Space. I will be finishing the Dead Space remake. One way or the other, I'm going to be beating it tonight. I've got like a chapter and a half left. If I start late, I'm going to make sure I beat it before I leave. If I have to start and stop, I'm going to restart it later in the night and beat it. Whatever it takes, I'm beating Dead Space tonight. So come on by Twitch, and we'll have some fun together and see how that game ends. Okay, so the Broncos traded for Sean Payton, and they gave up their first-round pick this year, which is, I believe, 29th overall. They gave up their second-round pick in 2024, and they got a third-round pick in 2024 back. So you dissect it, and basically they traded Bradley Chubb for that first-round pick. The first-round pick ends up being not that good because the Niners go on that run. And then they trade that first-round pick along with a future second-round pick for Payton and a third-round pick. So, it could have been worse, right? Like, there was a time when it sounded like it was going to be a first and another first, especially because Denver's initial first was kind of weak. So, could have been worse, definitely. Now, one thing I want to say before we dive any further into this is the Seahawks and their fans have no more objective reason to want the Broncos to fail. They don't, because they don't have their picks anymore. A few people over the last several months have commented on my videos, hey, don't forget, we have the Broncos' first-round pick in 2024 as well. We don't. We do not have that pick. We don't have any more Broncos picks after this upcoming draft. We're going to use their first, going to use their second, and then it's over. We have no more interest in seeing the Broncos fail for draft pick reasons. There's no objective reason to want the Broncos to lose anymore because all the draft picks we have are set in stone and are going to be utilized before the season starts. With that being said, is this good news for the Seahawks on an objective level? Yes. Simply because this keeps Sean Payton away from Arizona. Now, I don't think Sean Payton could have fixed Arizona, but he would have certainly had a better chance at it than just about anybody else they could hire. So, yeah, let me just start off by saying that. It is good news. Just because it keeps Payton not only out of Arizona, but out of the NFC. He now goes over to a team that we don't ever have to worry about competing with. We might play the Broncos again in a couple years, but we're never going to be competing with them for, like, playoff seeding or a division title. So this gets one of the better coaches in the league out of our conference and away from apparently his other choice, which was actually Arizona. Again, Arizona's got problems bigger than just their coach, I think. But Payton would have had a better chance at figuring things out than just about anybody else. So this leaves Arizona in a position where they're probably not going to get anybody appealing. So that's good news right in and of itself. And that's the main objective benefit or detriment to this trade from a Seattle perspective. I'm not that worried about the Saints getting those picks, the first rounder and the future second rounder. I'm not really thinking about that all that much. Like, obviously, they're probably going to use those picks well because they're a good drafting team, but whatever. I'd rather have them get those picks and keep a dummy like Dennis Allen in at head coach. So, with that being said, obviously, our X is still over there in Denver, and even though we have no more connection to him in any, like, objective way, some people are still very interested to see how this saga plays out, because obviously he was the greatest quarterback in franchise history for 10 years, then he goes somewhere else and immediately turns into, like, the worst quarterback in the league. Now we want to see how this saga goes, and now he has a coach who has a big track record of success. And if Wilson cannot have big success with Sean Payton as his head coach, the excuses are going to be gone. So this saga definitely gets a little more interesting, and I think there are going to be a lot of Seahawks fans who, whatever they're rooting for, and let me just say this, in the Discord, there are a lot of Seahawks fans who have said all year, last year, of course I'm rooting for Denver to lose and Wilson to fail because of the picks. But they've also said next year, when the picks are not on the line, I'm probably going to go back to rooting for him again and hope that he, figures out whatever it is that's getting in his way. So I think there are going to be a lot of Seahawks fans who actually hope that now that we don't have any vested interest in objectively rooting for him to fail and lose, that this actually works out. And in fairness, of the things that the Broncos could have done, this is probably giving them the best chance to actually find a way to figure this situation out without having to just cut Wilson and eat a ton of dead money. Like, if Sean Payton cannot fix Russell Wilson, then nobody's fixing him. At the same time, that roster needs help. And now they don't have a first-round pick this year to deal with it. Not that the first-round pick was that good, but you could have used that first-round pick to bolster the offensive line that everybody says is terrible. Now you don't have any picks until the third round, early third round, but you don't have any picks until the third round to address any of the needs. You need to replace the offensive line. I think you probably need another receiver because I don't think Courtland Sutton is a good fit with Wilson at all. And Judy, one way or the other, I don't know. KJ Hamler at this point is a massive bust. And I don't know. There's not going to be a lot to play with to improve the roster. Now, they have a little bit of cap space and they can create more, of course, but they don't have a massive amount of cap space. They have a little bit of an above average cap space, and they're going to have to find a way to stretch it because, bottom line, after this upcoming season, Wilson's cap hit starts to explode. So they are kind of obligated to go all in now. They got Sean Payton. They can't say, okay, let's wait a few years, and then as some of these players who maybe don't fit, like a Courtland Sutton, come off our books, then we can go for it. So this is going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. I think a lot of Seahawks fans, even though we have no more draft pick interest in the Broncos failing, are going to want to see how this goes. And to a certain extent, I think there are a lot of Seahawks fans who were sitting there for years dreaming, what if we got Russell Wilson, the great offensive coach that he never had here and didn't have that first year in Denver? What if we did that? What would have happened? Now we get some way to find out without having us be the team that is betting our future on it. So let me know what you guys think about this. Personally, I'll say this. I'll just say this right now. I would have rather just signed Jim Caldwell. Not because Caldwell's a better coach than Sean Payton. Of course he's not even close. But you wouldn't have had to give up the draft picks. And Jim Caldwell's a good, steady coach. He is. But I don't hate the move. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be compensation-wise. But, yep, they are all the way in now. To a certain extent, maybe they figured, well, we don't have picks anyway, so what's a couple more picks? That's probably the mentality. We're in for a penny, in for a pound. All right, let me know what you guys think down below. See you guys tonight on Dead Space.